people. Thank you for coming out here to represent your community. Stand up your community, because God knows your community needs you to stand up today. Now, you would have heard some fine people here today talk about WestCONnex, and by now you must know, and here's your first language warning for my presentation, what a shithole of a project this is. Now, I could have said what a effed up project this is, but that implies that at one stage this was useful and it got rooted along the way. That never happened. WestCONnex was the love children of Tony Abbott, you remember him, the inferior Prime Minister, and Tony Shepherd. Tony Shepherd, you probably may have heard of him. For those of you who don't know, he is a member of the octopus family. He has his hands and fingers in more things than a sleazy drunken first date. He is everywhere. Transurban, ex-CEO of the WestCONnex Delivery Authority, architect of making the Sydney Motorways Corporation a private company, CEO of the Greater Western Giants, who just happened to sponsor WestCONnex, confidant to Stewie Airhead, Minister of WestCONnex, and chairman of the Sydney Cricket Ground Trust. They're the ones who reckons we need to destroy a few stadiums here and there, by the way. And if you ever head down to Alexandria and stand facing east from Euston Road, through the rubble and the road widening, guess what's at the end of Euston Road? Sydney Cricket Ground. It just happens to be the end of all the road extensions that is WestCONnex. Just saying, totally coincidental. I am not going to talk about WestCONnex because there's been some fine speakers talk about it, and you're probably already angry. And anger leads to frustration unless you can do something about it. So what I'm going to try and do is in the next 5 minutes walk you through the 3 stages of WestCONnex, not the actual WestCONnex stages, but the journey that people make when they start fighting this beast. I've noticed that I've gone through this journey, and a lot of people who have been fighting WestCONnex also go through this journey. The first stage of the journey is called NIMBY. It's what the government calls us, because we are selfish people who only care about the community in our backyard. That's okay, because that is how you get involved the very first time you hear something and you don't like it. And you hope to hell that it doesn't affect your patch of the world. In this phase, you make some suggestions which seem great at the time and well-intentioned, but when you look back from another journey, another phase down the road, yeah, perhaps they were a little bit self-centered. Perhaps we can move the smokestack to the next suburb. Perhaps the tunnel can go a bit to the left so it doesn't go underneath my backyard. You stay in this phase as long as you need to, as long as you don't get exposed to too much bullshit from WestCONnex. I stayed about 2.5 days in that stage. I exited that stage when I went to my first community session for consultation on the smokestack that is being built in Haberfield. They wanted community feedback, and I thought that this was my opportunity to make a difference. I went. And the consultation went something like this. Thank you for all coming to talk and listen about WestCONnex. I'm very glad that we have such a great turnout from the Haberfield community. We would now like to open the floor to have some questions asked and perhaps some feedback about the WestCONnex Stage 1 East. I'd just like to point out that the smokestack that you're going to erect is actually surrounded by Haberfield Public School, some nursing homes, and a lot of kindergarten. And I was wondering if it's possible to move the smokestack maybe to an industrial area. Thank you for your feedback, but unfortunately the location of the smokestack has been approved by Rob Stokes, the Planning Minister, and that is not something that we can actually go into tonight. And by the way, we have actually started doing preliminary construction. Okay, would it be possible to look at some sort of filtration for it? Actually, filtration has been proven to be non-consequential, and also it is something that we are not here to discuss tonight either. What exactly do you want me to come and talk to you about WestCONnex? I'm running out of ideas. Well, Haverfield is a heritage listed area, and the building materials for the smokestack haven't been decided upon yet, and we want to get them just right, because we want the smokestack to blend into the architectural landscape. Now, I actually stood like this for a lot longer, but I've only got 5 minutes, so I'm going to skip the deer in the headlight look and go to what I said after that. I see. I understand. Do you have a brick chart? Sorry? No, that's all right. What I suggest you do is you consider some brickwork that is sandstone in texture with some earthly tones of browns and reds. Once you've found these bricks, coat them literally in lubricant and shove them up your smokestack. That was my stage one. Stage two. Now stage two comes to you. You don't come to it. And stage two comes to you with the subtlety of a defibrillator caressing your chest during a heart attack. You wake up one morning and there's someone digging an exploratory hole in your driveway. Your trees are being pulped and turned into mulch. There's a bulldozer doing donuts where Mrs. Jones' house used to be, 4 houses down from you. And the local park where the under-10s played every 2 weeks is now a car park. However, in this stage, and I was one of them, you still think that if you can present a logical, well-thought-out argument to someone high enough in government where the air is purified, they will listen to you. John, I didn't realise what we were doing here. Thank you for bringing this to my attention. It is obviously that we have misunderstood the project, and from now on, we will actually be listening and rectifying it. No need to worry anymore. It sounds stupid when I say it, but I actually thought that too. In search of my high-altitude rarefied air in government, I fronted up to the toll inquiry, the New South Wales Senate. There I thought I would get a very independent listening to, and my suggestions would be taken on board. I spent a week collating facts, figures, refining my argument. I took an articulation to heights articulation that had never been taken before. And then when I fronted up, I was told, you have 2 minutes to say something before we will ask you questions. 2 minutes! So I had my say, and then I got asked questions. I got asked questions by the independent thinking senator of the Liberal Party who was a little bit conservative, who told me that I was under the impression, I was implying that WestCONnex was not going to bring any benefit to my community. I said, no sir, I'm not implying that at all. I'm stating a fact. It's not going to bring anything of benefit to my community. Well, Mr. Lozano, I have figures to say otherwise. Engineering has put these figures together, and they show that the City Westlink and Parramatta Road will have a congestion reducing factor of, hang on a minute, have you and your engineer actually ever been to the City Westlink or Parramatta Road at 8 o'clock in the morning? I find your remarks offensive. I once lived in Camperdown and caught the 461 to down Parramatta Road. Every morning I went to Fort Street High. You think with that level of education he could have worked out it was a dud without an inquiry. Yeah. Stage 3. Stage 3 is where we probably are all at, or we need to get to. And this is where you realise that, and I don't want to belittle any of the work that anyone has done, any community group has done up to now, but this is where you realise that unfortunately no matter what you say, no matter how articulate, no matter how well thought out your argument is, no matter how many submissions you submerge any politician in, the current government does not care. They will not shift their position. And our only hope is that the next lot coming in think differently. And that's hard. That's hard because you just don't know how they think, because they won't listen to you, they won't talk to you, they're not here today. And unfortunately in Australia, we have created a duopoly. A lot of people think only of two parties, and a lot of people support those parties like they do their football team. It doesn't matter that they don't perform, they rock up and they support them again and again and again. So thank you for coming here tonight, but I may be preaching to the converted. You need to talk to other people to say there are more choices out there. The only way you're going to get true representation is if you get someone elected who actually cares for your community, who isn't afraid to speak up about your community, who's not going to be concerned about party direction. And when you have that person in power, in your electorate, and the next electorate, and the next electorate, guess what? Politicians will be here because they want to win you back. Because that's how it works. They only care about winning a seat and retaining it. And the only time they focus is on when you can give them something. Because God knows they give us nothing. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you, John. Okay, well that pretty much concludes the stuff that's on the agenda for today. The final combo, we're really pretty much running out of time. The police are getting a little bit agitated. They're here to actually escort the march up to the side of the Balmain Leagues Club. So anybody that's really interested in joining us, please just kind of gather at the end of the car park here, and we'll move off in an orderly fashion. The plan is to head up the street here, just beside the first police car. We'll turn right into Victoria Road, and we'll gather outside the Balmain Leagues Club. Hopefully if there's any media there, one or two people might elect to make a speech or two, and that will conclude today's festivities. Thank you so much for coming. I really do appreciate the turnout. Early on, I think the crowd was probably pushing 400 or 500 people. That was fabulous. It's a shame it's frittered away somewhat throughout the day. However, please join us. We're marching up to the Balmain Leagues Club to make our presence felt there, and to let the world at large know that that's just simply a crazy place to have a dive site. Okay, again, thank you all for coming. Thank you to the speakers. Thank you to the entertainers. Thank you so much.